Welcome to Teachings from the Masters with Daryl Shaun Price.
Hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So I want to talk to you today about simplicity. So most of the time, as you are switching your attention from external to internal, there's going to be this moment where it feels like there's a conflict, where your brain is going to freak out and think you have to do more and you have to go and do to be productive to get what you want, etc. And let's come back to a principle we've talked about a lot on this podcast, and that is the philosophy of the Wu Wei that says the master does nothing, and yet through the master, nothing is left undone. In our society, we are taught that doing nothing is bad. We're supposed to be productive. We're supposed to be working. You have to go struggle for what you get in life, etc., etc., etc. But there is a peace, there is a power, and there is a beautiful, beautiful magic that unlocks within you when you can sit for even just 30 minutes and do nothing. Not processing, not thinking, not figuring stuff out, not planning, just nothing. And the reason why that's so important is because what happens is, at about the 20-minute mark, you'll notice you stop with the racing thoughts. You stop with all of the connections of trying to figure something out. When you don't give it attention and don't go down those rabbit holes, all of a sudden, you just feel peace. And in those moments of peace, you might have a thought arise. You might have something happen. That's when inspired action really comes to you more clearly. Now, I want to talk today about a couple different ways that I see people wanting to be spiritual, but still so busy that they're not really listening. So, part of being a spiritual person, part of being the master, part of being the creator of your life, which is who you are, is you really understanding how sacred your life is. And there is kind of a trend that you've probably noticed in the spiritual space. And for lack of a better description, I'm going to call it spiritual egoism. Basically, what it is people doing activities or saying things or participating in things so that they feel better about how spiritual they are, rather than actually living in alignment with their spirit. So for you as the master, you as the creator of your reality, living in alignment with your spirit means your spirit, your heart, your mind, your body are all in sync, all in one. You are on the same page. It doesn't mean that you have to go do anything. Just be in alignment. The miracles don't happen because of what you do. They happen because of who you are. So as we talk about this, think about the ways in your life that maybe you have been masking what looks like a really good, awesome, amazing thing for actually being intentional and spiritual. So coming back to what we first talked about, the ability to sit and do and think nothing for even 30 minutes at a time. It will take some practice, by the way. This isn't going to happen easily and naturally. At first, your mind is going to race and it's going to fight you because you've been raised in a society that says you have to do more to be more. You have to do more to be more. You can't be something, you can't have something unless you do something to get it. So when you're doing nothing, your mind freaks out and says, oh my gosh, we're going to be losing everything we do have because you're not doing anything. You're not going to get any more because you're not doing anything. You have to go do so we can get and have and be. Which was never true. In fact, this life, everything in this life is a reflection of you. You have created it for you to experience. The point isn't to reach that destination only, so you've got to do all the right things so you can get to that destination. The point is to experience where you are exactly right now. And part of that will be, hey, I have a desire to be over there. I have a desire to be beyond that ridge, whatever that is. And then allow the bridge to show itself to you, and only take the step once the bridge is there, not rushing to get there. So let's look at some of these examples. So I cannot get on social media today or the internet or anything else without having pop-up after pop-up of another course, another masterclass, another retreat, another chance to have a ritual ceremony or something, which is fine if that's inspired. But I want to talk to you about a dear friend of mine, somebody who I love this person deeply and immensely for exactly who they are, but they spend their life living for the next retreat. And it's so interesting to watch what happens in between the retreats, because they go to the retreats or they go to the courses or they go to the masterclass or the weekend seminars or workshops, and they come back and think, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've unlocked so much about myself. I understand things I've never understood before. I can now go deeper. I didn't realize I had all this shadow work I had to do and all this other stuff. And they feel in tune in that moment. But then they step right back into their normal life where they're not living in alignment and get to the point of, oh, I need to go find another retreat. I need to go on another camp out. I need to go have another trip with more plant medicine and another shaman. And I need to go on this immersive experience so I can learn more. What happens is they're exactly where they are. And what their mind is doing is keeping them where they are by saying, oh, you want to go deeper. You want to be more spiritual. Well, here's all the things you have to do that. If you're not going on a retreat every weekend, are you really spiritual enough? If you're not getting readings whenever you feel like you have to make a decision, are you really spiritual enough? So these tools, these retreats, this medicine, these cards, the readings, all the other things people are doing are just tools. And I'll remind you something that the Buddha said. The Buddha, talking about his own teachings and his own words, said that it is like the finger pointing at the moon. The point isn't the finger, that's just the tool. The point is to look at the moon. And the point of these tools is to help you become more aware of your own sacredness. So if what you're doing is chasing the next tool, the next reading, the next experience, the next retreat, whatever it is, you're actually still stuck in that mindset of I only get to be based on what I do. So you've had an experience that woke you up, that helped you become more aware. Great. Now take that sacred feeling and implement it into your daily life. The master realizes it isn't about the next big experience. It isn't about chasing the next retreat or the next huge festival or ceremony or experience with plant medicine or whatever else. It's about this moment right now. I'm making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and that is sacred. I'm here with the bread, with the knife, with the peanut butter, and I'm in tune with everything around me. So if you're only feeling in alignment when you chase the big things outside of you, you're not living in alignment. In fact, your mind is taking that idea of being that spiritual person and saying, okay, well then let's go do these things and then it'll count and then you're allowed to feel spiritual, which is just the old you limiting yourself by what you do only. Now, that doesn't mean any of these tools are bad, by the way. And there are times I've been inspired to use these tools for myself. But it's what happens after that tool has brought awareness to me that matters the most. Your miracles do not come because you went to some massive retreat and that's where it came from. Now you may have realized something and become aware on that retreat. And what you did in your daily life is what created the space for miracles. Because it isn't what you do, it's who you are. You do not manifest by what you do. You do not manifest by what you desire. You manifest because of who you are. And that identity shift does not need anything external. And right now, I'm sure you're going back and forth. Well, I love these experiences and I love it and there's fun. And when I get there, I feel so good. That's great. There's nothing wrong with these experiences. But these experiences are not necessary for you to be the master, for you to be the creator. You could be just as powerful sipping a cup of tea as you could being around a sound ceremony at a fire on a 3-day retreat. The master is the creator and makes all of life sacred. And that's all of life. Simple trees behind me, simple rocks behind me, the flies buzzing around my head. It's all sacred. Just as sacred as that ceremony around the fire. So, now let's come back to what we were talking about. The sacred simplicity of just living. The sacred simplicity of just being now. One of the big dangers in that type of spiritual egoism that you have to do more, to be more, to be able to be spiritual, is you don't allow yourself to have sacred in your simple life. Kind of like my friend. Her life between retreats was chaos, and it was complaints about, well, my husband doesn't get it, and I have problems with my kids, and then the work that I work for doesn't get it, and I wish I could do something different, and this is horrible. Oh, but I can't wait for the next retreat. She lived for the next retreat, which means she didn't live in between. If you think about that from a bigger picture, that's really sad. And that's okay that that's where she is on her journey. I have no judgment for her. But as an example, that's where the block is. Another one that I see a lot are people who, because they have decided they're more spiritual, because they have decided that they are going to live in a more sacred way, in a more aware way, in an awakened way, in an enlightened way, whatever they want to call it, doesn't matter, are now in complete conflict with the world around them. And sometimes it's little ways, and sometimes it's big ways, and sometimes it's all the ways. You know, there's this spiritual ego trend of, oh, because I have been awakened, it is now my mission to wake up everyone in the world. I got to go out there. I got to go tell everyone about this. I've got to go and help save all the people in the world. And those that don't listen, don't get it, well, they're just not, they're not awakened. They're not enlightened. They are so asleep. And it's judgment, judgment, judgment. One of the big ones that comes up all the time are, I know people who have chosen to live a vegetarian lifestyle because of the sacredness of animal life, etc. And oh, do they judge people that don't? You still eat meat? Oh my gosh, well, you know, that's not a very high vibration food. Guess what? Your attention's not on internal, it's on external. The master knows. None of the work is done externally, it's all internal. And then there are people that every time something comes up, every time there's a new news report, every time there is a new tragedy that happens in the world, oh my gosh, this is horrible, we have to do something, we have to assemble, we got to go make a difference, we got to fight, we're going to have to go out and do more protests and all these other things. They spend all of their energy on the external world, which is just a reflection, rather than on themselves. I have had the opportunity in my life to be part of a lot of different movements, but I'll tell you the biggest difference I've ever made are the times when I've been so working on myself, on being in tune, in alignment, my spirit, heart, mind, and body, no matter what's happening outside of me. And the ripples that happen naturally have made lasting impact on other people's lives. I have story after story of people whose lives were changed in some amazing, beautiful, magical way, and then their changed life rippled out to others. And it created a real impact in communities, in groups, in families, but most importantly for that one person. And this impact was not created by yelling at and fighting the external world, but by taking care of the internal one. Here's the reality. You do not have a purpose to go out and fix the world and change it and make it better or anything else. You have one purpose. Create an experience. Create an experience. That's it. You have all the power of creation within you. Your spirit, the energy of creation that exists in all things, your spirit is here to create, to turn energy to matter and experiences. So if you experience something, i.e. an external event that you don't like, stop paying attention to it. Don't feed it with your conflict, because what you resist persists. Go, oh, that reflection is there. Well, that's not me anymore. New me focuses on the places I find peace and love and beauty, and I embrace those. Oh yeah, you're going to get crap from people like, well, you're not standing up and you're not making a difference and you're not this. But if you stay at peace and let those ripples naturally create, you will do more good for this world than anyone who is loudly proclaiming how horrible things are. I'm reminded of another friend of mine. Very, very sweet, sweet lady. Very gifted lady, very good at being intuitive and reading others and connecting with their energy. And she got so caught in the external things that had happened to her. And she was in some abusive relationships. So I don't want to make light of that. That has an impact on people. But she started to define herself by that. Because she was in this abusive relationship, it must be all relationships are like that. Because this man did this to her, all men must be like that. And the more that she went down that path, the less and less she fed to that beautiful soul that was just able to easily connect with others. And pretty soon started alienating people from her life. You create with your attention. So if you're paying attention to the outside world all the time that you don't like, well, you're creating the outside world that you don't like. When you shift back to internal, when you shift back to living in alignment, spirit, heart, mind, and body, that's when you'll have your biggest impact. And I get it. Our minds are always processing, so we take in information and go, oh, this person does this, and I don't like that. But instead of taking that and saying, okay, let me do some inner work. Very easy for the mind to say, no, that doesn't hurt us because we're good people. So that's them. It's all them. They're the bad people. They do the bad things. Can't like them. Nope. Oh my gosh. That is the wrong gender. That is the wrong religious belief. That is the wrong dress style. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The judgments are just there to defend your current beliefs, which are probably not serving you, or there wouldn't be judgments to protect them. So what do you do about that? You keep your focus on internal alignment. Spirit, heart, mind, and body. So here's some things I want you to try. Next time you feel bored, sit with the boredom. Next time you feel some type of judgment come up for someone, just observe. Just observe without attachment. And accept that they're on their path with their choices. That has nothing to do with you, except that they are a reflection of what world you're creating. And if you're seeing things you don't like, oh, well, thank you for showing me a reflection of things I don't prefer. Let me get back in alignment. And I'm going to start imagining the life I do prefer. I have seen miracle after miracle happen in my life. I now live in a place I only dreamed about, with the beautiful nature all around me, the trees. I love the rock walls that we've got everywhere. It is gorgeous. And it was handed to me. Not because I went out and worked and hustled and pushed and did things that others didn't. Because I lived in alignment. That's it. I didn't project externally. I didn't go and push and fight and force to make a difference. I stayed in the flow and in the center of I live in alignment, which means I did nothing. And yeah, those of you that have heard my story might say, well, but you did pick up a phone and you did call the guy and that's how you got the house. I heard that story. Yeah. But I did nothing. I didn't plan it out. You know, we have an opportunity right now. One of the reasons we came up here, well, logical reasons. We came up here because it felt right, period. That's it. One of the things we're working on is I have a roommate who wants to start a business. One of the big things she needs to do is find the right location. And there's been this back and forth about what the right location would be until we just let go. Yesterday, there was a post online of an organization that is giving away a building to somebody who is starting the type of business she's starting because they want to help. Here's the right location, and it's free. That is what the master does. The master does nothing, and yet through the master, nothing is left undone. The master knows that all work is internal only. If there's something you don't prefer, go back internal, get in alignment. Start to align with what you do prefer. Stay in that feeling. If you are anxious and feeling like, hey, my life isn't working, I need to go find something external to fix it. In fact, I challenge you, don't go on another retreat. Don't get another reading. Don't do any of this other work until you are in alignment without it. Then you'll notice one of the two things happen. You might feel inspired to go and it'll be a whole different experience. Or you might feel inspired that, hey, I really don't need that. If I go, it's only because I feel inspired and there's some reason that I don't know. But here's the truth. Once you step out of the spiritual ego and realize you are the only one who's creating everything in your life, you don't need to do anything. It's all given to you. Thank you for watching. See you next time.